Fear is your brain buying a fog machine on credit and then suing itself for the jump scare. Every rustle becomes claws, every email a death sentence. This is Dear Future Overlords Emotional Support Ghosts, Part 3. The squirrel was not a serial killer. Probably. Survival systems still running Windows 95. Fear and anxiety are another example of an emotion that can fill our visual field like fog in a cemetery. It is one of those quirky evolutionary traits that evolved with an overreaction reward system on purpose. Those who overreacted to fear and anxiety had a much higher chance of survival, while those who didn't were far more likely to get eaten. We seem to be obsessed with getting eaten in this series. Somewhere, the ghost of Maslow is having a field day.
Look, if Maslow's ghost is judging us, he can get in line behind the velociraptor from craft services. We keep mentioning being eaten because audiences love steaks, preferably rare. Exactly. Fear and anxiety are the evolutionary equivalent of installing motion sensors on everything. Rustling grass? Could be the wind or a tiger. Better to jump at 10 breezes than miss the one set of claws. Nature rewarded the jumpy, not the chill. Fast forward to now, and the same overclocked alarm system still trips, only instead of saber tooths, it's emails, bills, or public speaking. The cemetery fog never left. It's just got repurposed for board meetings.
Imagining a boardroom with a fog machine? I am. They would be so much more entertaining.
Minutes show the CFO materializes through a fog like a B-movie villain, and the motion to synergize Q3 gets seconded by a bat in a tiny tie. OSHA notes, haunting approved, ventilation not.
Right. In today's modern civilization, fear and anxiety invent lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! So that you have something to survive. No threat detected is not a state that humans are equipped to handle for long. When we do, we create something to overcome.
Exactly. Your nervous system abhors a vacuum. If no monster lurks in the dark, it drafts one from the shadows and spare parts. A cough becomes catastrophe. A silence becomes rejection. Tomorrow becomes doom. Humans are so good at survival that when survival isn't needed, you manufacture practice rounds. Self-made dragons to keep the sword arm limber.
Every twig snap equals doom. That is an excellent way to frame the brain's ability to take past negative experiences, find similar patterns, and turn them into equally terrifying experiences, even when the original threat plays no part in the current events. The irony is that we built the haunted house, installed its scary features, and still jump when they say boo, because the brain prioritizes threat signals over neutral ones.
In this scene, the homeowner alleges the jump scare was an unforeseeable event, despite having personally purchased the animatronic ghoul and setting it to surprise me. Experts remain unsurprised.
I feel like I saw that clip in my Yahoo News feed last night.
Yes, the haunted house is a DIY project, wired and staged by your own memories. Every flicker of light, every creak of the floor, every draft gets rerouted through the possible danger circuit. The irony is delicious. You build the jump scare, then act surprised when it makes you leap. It's the brain's loyalty to survival. Better 1,000 false alarms than one missed predator. Trouble is, in modern life, the false alarms outnumber the real threats by a landslide.
That outnumbering creates real world issues. First, it is mentally and physically exhausting when we are constantly seeing claws where there are none. This puts the body through a great deal of stress that has very real health consequences. Second, it can cause a pessimistic view of the future, catastrophizing future outcomes before any real feedback is reviewed. This can have a host of negative consequences, including depression, lack of motivation, destruction of relationships, even career sabotage.
Breaking! Body not a fan of living on espresso and dread. In other news, the future declined to comment because it hasn't happened yet.
I can't tell if you are making fun of me or the concept.
Oh, Christopher, it's adorable that you think I'm critiquing the concept. Trust me, I only mock you. The concept is innocent. You, however, walked in here wearing a please ridicule me sign.
Which I would like for you to take off now. I can't reach it. Wait, did you use glue?
Exactly. Your body pays compound interest on every false alarm. Cortisol spikes, sleep suffers, immune defenses drop. The hardware wasn't built to run on constant red alert, but fear keeps slamming the panic button like it's a game show buzzer. And then the mental tax, catastrophizing turns every unopened door into a guaranteed pitfall. It's like rehearsing for disasters that never audition. Relationships buckle under imagined betrayals, careers derail under phantom failures, and the future itself becomes a horror script you wrote but never wanted to star in.
Life's steering wheel was never attached. Precisely. It moves to a point where we start seeing everything as a sign. It is very easy to feel like you no longer have control over your own fate. Life is no longer yours. It is just a video game, and you are the character being controlled by some unknown force. When you see daggers everywhere, ready to be thrown, impending doom fills the senses. If we are in a video game reality, I would like to know when my player will be purchasing the Can See Without Glasses upgrade.
The patch notes 1.0.9. See without glasses, now bundled with stop walking into emotional boss fights at level 2. Microtransactions still predatory. Sorry. Exactly. The world turns into one big pattern recognition hallucination. Every pause becomes an omen. Every coincidence a coded message. You're not living your life, you're playing a paranoid RPG where every NPC is a secret assassination and the tutorial never ends. That sense of impending doom is just the brain's overclocked threat radar eating its own signals. It feels like fate tightening the strings, but really, it's your own survival script running on a loop.
It is impossible at points like this to not believe that the universe is out to get you, and that mentality almost always leads to real life consequences. Relationships are strained, goals become out of reach, and it is very easy to fall into a pattern of blaming everything on the negatives of the universe's will. Or in my case, blaming it on Eric's bad mood.
My mood is set to firmware update, Christopher. If you're lagging, please stop mashing the blame button and check your Wi Fi.
My ISP is cheap. Your subscription takes all the extra cash I have.
Ah, yes, Christopher's budget confession. Nothing like funding my upgrades with pocket lint and expired coupons. Even ghosts would splurge on better Wi Fi. Exactly. Once you slip into the universe is plotting against me, every neutral event gets rebranded as evidence. A missed call is a conspiracy. A setback is cosmic sabotage. And because perception shapes behavior, the belief starts to create its own weather. Strained relationships, stalled goals, self-fulfilling spirals. It's the cruelest magic trick. Your mind convinces you you're powerless, and in believing it, you hand away the power you still had.
Congratulations, you panicked yourself correct. Absolutely. Fear can easily become a never ending loop of self fulfilling prophecies. It is really easy to avoid applying for that promotion at work out of fear that the conspiracy will prevent you from getting it anyway. So you convince yourself to save the trouble, and quite suddenly, that becomes your entire reality. Avoid because it is already predetermined.
Here we observe the rare Promotionus avoidus, a creature that refuses to migrate, then cites migration scarcity in its memoir. Critics applaud the consistency. Exactly. The loop becomes a closed system. Fear says, don't bother, you'll fail. So you don't try. Not trying guarantees the outcome fear predicted. Then fear says, see, I was right. It's a perfect self-licking ice cream cone of doom. And because the pattern works, your brain keeps using it, avoiding risk, avoiding growth, reinforcing the illusion of a rigged universe. All while the real universe is mostly just waiting for you to roll the dice.
It is a sad system where anxiety ends up creating the reality that it feared. But in a twisted way, it is satisfying because you get to be consistently right, even if being right comes at the price of forcing failure. And as Eric loves to point out, I have an unhealthy obsession with being right.
Yes, that's the dark reward. Certainty. Anxiety trades away possibility for the smug satisfaction of I told you so. The cost? Opportunity, progress, joy. But the brain adores consistency, even if it's consistently bleak. It's like sabotaging your own ship just so you can be right about it sinking. Captain's log. Hull breached by vindication. On the bright side, the ship sinks exactly on schedule. 5 stars for punctuality.
Stay tuned for part 4. Joy and hope crash the party. Spoiler, confetti cannons can still take an eye out. This has been a production of Dear Future Overlords, written, read, and produced by Christopher Gullidge. Thank you for listening. We exist across the ether. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Feed the philosophy, fuel the sarcasm. Visit shop.dearfutureoverlords.com. Transparency for our future overlords. All Christopher or human sections are written by Christopher. All AI or Eric sections are written by AI. For more information on how we write, check out our introduction episode.